Hi folks, thanks for stopping by Hemingway's Tractor. We're going to get back to work on the orchard area today. We need to take out those stumps that are left over and maybe pick up a few rocks that were there as well, the easy ones that we can get off just from the surface. What I want to show you first though is one of the hazards that we have in Texas as well as most of the southern states, and that is invasive fire ants. The dead live oak tree that we took out, the core of that is full of a fire ant nest. I want to take the stump down a little bit further so there's less effort with the stump grinder, but to do that we've got to work around those fire ants. Let's take a look at what they are and how they've filled that stump up. Live oaks here in South Texas have a tendency to develop hollow spots. Most of the ones that you see down here will have at least a small hollow space in them, and this one was taken over by a colony of fire ants. You can see they've completely filled the area, and there's a few of them moving around now. So I wanted to go ahead and take this stump down a little bit further, and I'm going to have to work around those as they are basically in the way, and they can cause a bit of pain at times. Some of the other stumps I was able to take out already. A couple of those cedars I came by and I kicked them with my foot, and they were loose enough that I kicked them a couple more times just with a tennis shoe and was able to pull them out of the ground by hand, so we don't have to worry about grinding those down. I do have a couple of other ones that we want to take care of though. This is another live oak stump, and that is another cedar. You'll notice there's quite a few rocks around here, so I'm going to try to clean those up before we get started, so less of a chance to hit that with the carbide tips of the stump grinder blade. But got to do a little bit more prep, try to get those fire ants out of the way, and we'll get started. Well, I spoke too soon on the number of stings I got from the fire ant pile. Turns out as I was loading the stump grinder onto the tractor that I started feeling quite a few more, and it turns out that some of the little buggers had gotten up under my shirt and that was not comfortable. So anyway, if you've seen some of my previous videos, you may have seen the one about the John Deere Quick Connect PTO hookup system, and while I love that setup, it does have at least one drawback, and that being that you have to have the implement side on each of your implements. So if you want to have 3 or 4 PTO driven implements, you're going to need 3 or 4 implement sides of the Quick Connect setup in order to have everything ready to go. My biggest issue was with the rotary cutter. That's the one that I wanted to make sure that I had something, because that's the one that I had the most difficulty getting hooked up to the tractor. So that's the only one that I purchased the implement part of the system. The nice thing about it is it's very easy on the tractor side to take it off. So since I don't have a implement side for the stump grinder, I'm going to have to go back to just the standard PTO setup. So what I need to do is take the tractor side of the Quick Connect off in order to hook the PTO up. And like I said, it's very simple. You simply come in, you have this collar here, you slide that collar back. Now that I say it, There you go. I had to push it in just a little bit to get it to slide all the way off. But the collar moves easy, and once you get the knack of, I guess, pushing the tractor portion of it forward, it slides right off. So now it's just a matter of hooking up the PTO shaft from the stump grinder. Okay, that was a mostly rotted stump, so basically just hitting it with the stump grinder sent it flying. So I'm sure it sent all those fire ants flying as well. Hopefully they didn't fly up under my shirt again. I'm running out of blue Carhartts to change into. So that's one quick and easy cedar stump out of the way. We'll go ahead and get started on the live oak stump and see how we do as well. You notice we did hit a rock when we were in there, so there's still some under the ground. There's a couple that are pretty close to this one. I'm going to have to be real careful to avoid those because I really don't want to chip those carbide teeth on the stump grinder any more than I have to. Okay, we're starting to get in some more rock there. This stump is well below the surface grade, and we're not going to be planting anything in this area, so I'm not really worried about getting the entire thing out. So we're going to go ahead and leave it the way it is right there and move on to the next one. As you can see, we still have a considerable amount of stump there left to grind out. Unfortunately, we also have a rock, and I'm going to try to get that rock out of there so we don't do any damage to the grinder. Well, fortunately, it was a very small rock. Well, the fire ants are still here, and as you might imagine, they're a little irritated that I've destroyed their home. So every time I get close to the hole, they seem to be able to find their way into my shoes and attack again. So I might be stopping here and there every couple of minutes just to squish some ants. Well, that's about as far as I can go down. I believe I'm digging in pretty good with the parking stands. So other than digging out some trenches in order to give them room to move, I'm pretty much at the depth that I can go. Let's clean this out a little bit and see what we have left and see if there's really any concern. Well, there actually is a pretty good stump remaining there. I'm going to see if I can back up and just hit that short spot there without having to pull forward a whole lot, and perhaps we can get that out without digging the parking stands in anymore. Okay, we have just a small, probably taproot still at the bottom of this hole from the live oak tree. I think that it's far enough below this grade that I'm not going to worry about it anymore, because we keep running into the problem of catching the parking stands from the stump grinder. I could trench out the area around it and maybe do a little bit more to get down there, but I don't think it's really necessary. One of the things that I'm going to do is put some raised beds in here when we plant the fruit trees. They'll probably be semi-dwarf variety, so I get them up 6 to 10 inches above the ground, plus what we've got at grade and below grade level cleaned out. I think they should have plenty of room to root in without any issues whatsoever, and I don't really think there'll be any issues with this oak tree coming back at this point. So I think I'm going to wrap it up for today. We still have one more stump, the cedar that we cut down to wrap up, and that's the last with the stump grinder. Then get in here and try to move some of these larger rocks out of the way, and maybe hopefully use the pallet forks to pry up some of the other rocks that may be willing to come loose. We'll see how that goes. Once again, thanks for stopping by Hemingway's Tractor. I appreciate the views, and if you enjoyed this, please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you have the opportunity, and I certainly hope to see you again. And once again, thanks for stopping by.